Senator Josh Hawley is holding no punches when it comes to this expert witness in regards to people who are protesting who are non-citizens. You guys have got to see this ridiculous argument that she puts up.
Senator Hawley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. Ms. Pacheco, if I could just start with you. Your organization, the Dream.us, you provide support for undocumented young people for college and career success. Is that broadly right? Am I getting it right?
That's correct.
And among the things you do is you provide scholarships to these undocumented students. Have I got that correct?
That's right.
And so college scholarships, just to be clear.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Can you tell me, maybe you know the answer to this, maybe you don't, any of the students, do you know if any of the students to whom your organization has provided a college scholarship are currently part of the encampments on any of these college campuses, like the picture you see behind me? I'm sure we've all seen these videos.
No, Senator.
Nobody to whom you provide scholarships are part of the encampments?
I do not know.
Oh, you don't know. What about, do you know if any of the students to whom you provided scholarships have physically threatened Jewish students on campus?
I do not know.
Here's why I'm asking. NBC News just reported, and I'm just going to quote now from the article, quote, this is Columbia University, a Columbia undergraduate who provided only her initials because she is an undocumented immigrant and fears deportation, said last week she spent hours a day in the encampment. This would be the illegal encampment that's in violation of the law as well as campus policy. Spent hours a day in the encampment, I'm quoting still now, before university officials threatened to suspend those students. The article goes on, she joined, this student, joined a supplies platoon. That's a subgroup formed by pro-Palestinian campus organizers, end quote. Let me just review some of the things that these students, these in the encampments that is, are saying. And of course, we often don't know who these students are. They're concealing their identities. I'm going to read to you now, and I just warn folks, this is not pleasant stuff, but these are the facts, and we have to tell the truth. This is just from last night at George Washington University. That's here in this town. They projected, the students in the encampment there projected onto various buildings images of the United States flag being burned with the graphics, "Gaza lights the spark that will set the empire ablaze." They projected the following: "Long live the student intifada. Down with the settler state." That would be the state of Israel, I suppose. "Glory to the martyrs of Palestine." It's a jihadist slogan. "Stained with the blood of 44,000 Palestinians." That's last night at GW. Also at GW, they're now calling for beheading, the student encampment, beheading of individuals who support the state of Israel, including holding a people's tribunal where they're putting on trial, quote unquote, various members of their own board of trustees and calling for a guillotine. Here's Columbia University students on April the 20th, 2024. This is all public record. I'm reading this now. This is on, I guess it's X. Columbia University students yelling at Jewish students, and I quote, "Never forget October 7th. It will not happen, it will happen, not one more time, not 5 more times, not 10, not 100, not 1,000, but 10,000 times. The 7th of October is going to be every day for you." The 7th of October, this is to Jewish students, is going to be every day for you, end quote. I guess my question is, Ms. Pacheco, and for anybody else on the panel too, shouldn't we be deporting these students? If we have undocumented students who are here unlawfully in the country who are violating the law, let's just be clear here now, this is a violation of the law, and if they're also deliberately inciting persecution of a person on account of their race, which surely calling for the murder of Jews does that, shouldn't we be deporting them? Does anybody think we shouldn't be? Shouldn't we be deporting these students who are here unlawfully? Ms. Pacheco?
Senator, we expect a lot from our scholars, and the scholars and the students that I know love this country, respect this country, and want to and enrich not only the campuses, but also this country.
That's fantastic. And I hope and bet that none of the people that you sponsor are part of this. And I certainly hope that's the case. But I just wondered, is there anybody on the panel who thinks that we should not deport students who are here unlawfully, who are engaging in this activity, who are calling for the death of Jewish students, who are violating the laws of the United States? I mean, shouldn't we be deporting these people? Does anybody want to defend it and say, no, we shouldn't? They should absolutely be here. I think it's indefensible. The record reflects there's total silence from the panel. You know, I also think we ought to cancel the student visas, and I've called for this. For those who are here from other countries with a visa, I think if they're part of this, we ought to be canceling their visas. We ought to send a clear message. Actually, Ms. Pacheco, I think it was you in your opening statement put it really beautifully about how part of what we're talking here today represents the character of the country. I think that's very appropriate. And we need to send a message about this activity, not just about the trespassing and the destruction of buildings. That's bad, that's unlawful. But the threats of violence, and in some cases the outright acts of violence against Jewish students, we should send a moral message that if you do that and you are here unlawfully, you should be deported. If you are here on a student visa, you ought to have your visa canceled. This is the United States of America, and we are not going to stand for it. And I would just hope we could speak with one moral voice on this issue. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I have one question and one question only. How are students who are in this country illegally, how are they eligible for scholarships inside this country? It's absolutely ridiculous, and it is taking spots away from well-deserving Americans. I don't understand the fascination of just allowing anybody into this country and treating illegal immigrants better than American citizens themselves. The last president of the United States, Joe Biden, and his administration actively attacked Americans every turn along the way, while treating illegal immigrants like first-class citizens. And now we see it in institutions and colleges and universities. Where does it end? Thank God Donald Trump won in 2025 so we can put an end to this madness. We have to just say, you know what? If you are an American citizen, you are eligible for these things. If you are not an American citizen, you are not eligible. Plain and simple, and bad behavior must have punishments. If we continue to allow this injustice, it will only continue to happen further and further, and it's going to get to worse and worse extremes. And then eventually it's going to get to a point where you don't even want to be an American citizen anymore. It reminds me back in the Roman days. A Roman citizenship was as good as gold. That was the best thing that you could possibly have at that given time. But eventually they just started letting everybody into their nation, into their country, and then it just became worthless over time. That's exactly what was happening in America under Joe Biden. History may not always repeat exactly, but it always rhymes, I'll tell you that much. Did you notice though, that entire panel was deathly silent. They didn't have a word to say because they know they can never back up what they're saying. Everything that they say and comes out of their mouth is a fabrication, it's a lie, it is deceitful. Whereas Josh Hawley, he stands for the truth, he stands for common sense, and when you do that, you can go against 1 million people and you still can stand your ground because you know what you are fighting for is legitimate and you will fight till your last breath to preserve that. I'll say this to close. Every single college or university that gave out scholarships to somebody who was an illegal immigrant needs to have all their federal funding slashed. We cannot allow this. We cannot and will not allow this in our country any longer. Start giving these to Americans, people who actually deserve it and came in the country the right way. That is the only way to fix this issue, I really do believe. But let me know your thoughts on this down below. How do you think we best tackle this issue? And let me know, do you think there's ever a day where Josh Hawley would run for the President of the United States? And if so, would you vote for him? Let me know, I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Until next time.